guys, welcome back to my channel. Simone here, and today I'm going to be doing the second video that Nicole from A Beautiful Chaos of Books picked from my giveaway from January, where she got to pick 4 videos that I was going to be filming in the month of February. So today she, as you probably can tell from the title, asked me to film a video talking about some of my BookTube pet peeves, and I don't have a massive list of these because I've watched a lot of them and I think a lot of mine are very much the same as other people's, so I've kind of decided to just make a quick little video, I guess. I don't think this will be very long because it is, I think I've got 8 possibly, and like I said, some of them are quite similar to others that I've seen, so you may have already seen some other videos like this, and yeah, let's get started. So my first pet peeve is when people make lots of disclaimers. Now, I do it myself, so I know that this is something that I often feel like when we film videos, we kind of feel like we have to. But when people say, you know, this isn't meant to offend, or, you know, I bought these books not to brag, this is kind of just what I'm showing you, or whatever it is. Because I think a lot of the time we do feel like we might be judged, and I don't think it's an unreasonable thing to think, because actually probably sometimes we are judged for that, but I am trying to not to do it anymore, because in my head I'm thinking, if I make a video and my intention will never be to offend somebody, it's never going to be to kind of make a point, and if I've made a video and that's what you're taking from it, then you're probably watching the wrong channel. So I'm going to try my best not to do disclaimers in the future, but I obviously can't promise, because, you know, it always happens, doesn't it? But yeah, that's one of those things. I feel like it's really, it's not annoying necessarily, but it's one of those things when you watch a video from somebody and obviously they start off with a disclaimer, you almost feel like, I really wish you didn't have to say that. It's more like, I feel like I wish people didn't feel like they had to make disclaimers, rather than I'm annoyed when they do. I'm not annoyed, it's just one of those things I wish didn't have to happen. So that's number 1 from me. My second pet peeve is when people talk about books but don't actually show them, whether that's physically or like a picture on the screen. Now, I know not everybody has the software to be able to do it, because I know when I first started my channel, I used like, I think it was like Windows Movie Maker or something, and you couldn't put pictures on the screen. So, you know, if there's a physical like reason not to, but it does kind of irritate me when, like, if I can't see what you're talking about, then I just don't have that visual thing. And I guess to go along with that, when people kind of do tag videos and don't include the questions in the description box, because if I want to do that tag video, I want to know what the questions are, and I feel like a lot of the time when I do tag videos, I spend half of my life trying to find the questions because nobody puts them in the description box. I try to put them in every description box of my tags that I do, so yeah, it does kind of irritate me slightly. The next one is when people do loads of unboxing videos all at the same time. Now, I know that sometimes it's just the way that they come in, but I would almost prefer to watch one video where you do like 6 unboxings or something, than doing like 6 individual videos where they're like one after the other is unboxing. Because, and it's not anybody's fault, but you know, when everybody does the same unboxing video, because obviously that's the same crate or whatever it is that comes, it can be very samey. And like, if I've watched one person unbox an owl crate, for example, I've watched 10 people do the same, and it's the same box, it never really has anything different in. So although you see people's like reactions to it, which is a bit different, but it's going to be the same content really. So yeah, that does annoy me slightly. I'm not against unboxing videos in general, I think they're interesting, but I also think that they have their place, and yeah, that's kind of that. Next up is when people talk down to specific genres. Now, a lot of the time that does tend to be people talking down to YA in general, which annoys me because, you know, I'm a 26-year-old woman and I still read YA and I have no issues with that. I have probably been guilty of it myself a little bit with middle grade in the past, but I'm really trying not to do that anymore, because I think, I think rather than saying that this book is too young for me, it would be better to say I am not this book's target audience, and kind of this is what I think about that. So that's kind of where I'm trying to go from here, because I do think sometimes I probably am guilty a little bit of this. But what annoys me is when people say, like, oh, you read romance, or oh, you read chick lit, or like, I don't know, you read sci-fi, or whatever it is, and people kind of like, and I don't mean in terms of people watching videos based, like, for example, I read a lot of thrillers and not everybody does, so obviously I'm probably not the channel for them. But I personally really enjoy watching other people's channels where they read completely differently to me, and you know, it's fun to kind of get inspiration from people and kind of think about things, because not everybody's going to read one genre and that's it. Like, I read thrillers a lot, yes, but that's not the only genre I read, so I get lots of recommendations from other people's channels when they don't read thrillers, because, you know, I want to see what they do read. And also I just love hearing people talk about what they're really passionate about. So yeah, for me that's kind of a bit annoying when, you know, people kind of dismiss an entire genre basically. Next up is kind of the overhyped books thing, and by that I mean when people only ever, one, talk about books that are really hyped, or talk about like new releases all the time. Now, I have no problem with people talking about new releases, because obviously you're introducing them to people, you're telling them about them, but when that's all you talk about is new releases and really hyped books, I get a bit frustrated, because I like to find like hidden gems of books on BookTube and things that I've never heard of before, and when all you're talking about is the same books that I've already heard about, it's not bringing anything new to me. So although I love hearing people's opinions on books that are very hyped, I don't just want that. Next up is the kind of BookTube hate or BookTube drama that I feel like happens, and I feel like it's happening more and more recently. To be honest, I don't see it so much on BookTube itself, but it's more like book Twitter, but then I think a lot of the time it kind of like melds into the same. I do think there are valid reasons why people make videos based on certain things that are said in certain, you know, in the community, but I also think sometimes videos don't need to be made based on like hate comments or whatever, because I just think sometimes it draws attention to people, and you know, it's not always necessary. Now, as I said, it's not always, because I don't think that, you know, I think, you know, make the content you want to make, but I just think sometimes it's a lot of negativity, and I just want some more positivity really in the BookTube community at times. Next up is kind of like clickbait, but not quite as far as that, which is when the video title is not what the actual video is about. So if you write, I can't really come up with an example, but in terms of if you write the title as something that's kind of supposed to catch the eye and make you watch it, and it's not at all what the content is, or it's much more exaggerated than what the content is. Like, if I like your channel, I'm going to watch your video irrelevant of what the title of it is. So when you've like tried to draw me in, that really annoys me, and I'm more likely to turn it off. And the final one is non-supportive BookTube channels. So by that I mean people who never support other channels. Now, I know some people may not have many connections in the BookTube community, but I don't feel like you need to have a connection with someone in order to mention them in a video, for example. What I mean by that is, as you may know, I do quite a lot of like BookTuber shout out videos and things like that, and I personally really love that kind of video, and I love to watch that. And I don't think that you have to make BookTube shout out videos, but I do think that if you mention somebody in a video, for example, if you say you saw this on somebody's channel, or you read this book because somebody else mentioned it and you were really drawn into it, like link that person in your description box, because I think that's not only fair, but also I think like that helps people to be discovered by other people. Like, if I mention a certain booktuber, like very in passing perhaps, I will still try and always link them in the video, because I want people to be able to find them irrelevant of kind of whether they were really pivotal to the video or not. There you have it, guys. That is my pet peeves on BookTube. I hope that was interesting, and that you didn't get bored and also think that I was being rude. Again, I think I just did like a mini disclaimer at the end of the video, so I'm going to not do that anymore. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you on Friday for another video. Bye guys!